but also here in HLP. So some of you might have actually gone to our training as well, but we're going to go ahead and just start from the beginning. Some of you are familiar and some of you are just starting. So our topic is unlocking the potential of AI in education and highlighting, of course, ChatGPT today. So and I believe we're going to have time for questions afterwards, but we're just going to go ahead and get right into it. But before we begin, we always want to check and see how everyone is doing. So this will also get you into our following questions. So please participate with us. Ricardo has put the link in the chat and let us know how we are feeling this fine Monday afternoon after work. Let us know how you're feeling right now. It's always great not only to check on one another, but to also check on our kids, right? That's just the best practice for us, just to see how everyone's feeling. We have feelings all over the place here, mostly in the green and ready to receive this information. Some of us are a little bit towards the red, and that is completely valid. All feelings are valid today, however you are feeling. I'm really hungry, so I might be leaning towards the red, just saying. All right, so if you are on this poll, it would automatically bring you to the slide, which is, what is the first word that comes to mind when you think of artificial intelligence, including ChatGPT? So if you're already there, go ahead and give us some answers. And if you weren't there, go ahead and click on the link that Ricardo had added. And this tool is Poll Everywhere. I know a lot of us are familiar. We've been using it for a long time. And the great thing about the word cloud is that if people choose the same answers, the words change size. So just another layer of conversation you can have with your kids if you use this, right? So Terminator, definitely. Robot. I think of the movie I, Robot. Araceli, what do you think of?
Yeah, I was Terminator, 80s.
You see people's ages right now, right?
I know.
And I love these honest responses because we have plagiarize, take over, rise of the machines. Yes. So many things. So feel free to go ahead and continue to add your responses, but we're going to move on for the sake of time. But thank you for participating there. So it's just more fun when everyone participates. So here we are, our purpose and objective and non-objective. We always like to start with this, but this is just a lot of words and we're not going to read through this whole thing. So I think it's best we just start with 4 simple questions that will kind of guide our conversation today. And these are from George Couros. I say it wrong every time, I'm sorry. What are some of the negatives and positives of ChatGPT? That's kind of why we're here today, right? The good and the bad. What are some ways that ChatGPT can be used in our everyday lives? So not just in school, but also outside, right? How can we use ChatGPT in our current roles to make our lives easier and improve learning? And how can we help students utilize ChatGPT for their learning in and outside of school? So those are the things that we are hoping to cover today with you. Ding.
And as we start talking about ChatGPT, we're going to touch on artificial intelligence in general too, and some other tools that are out there. And when we do this, we like to focus on NPDL and how this is going to affect new pedagogies for deep learning. And you're going to see that obviously leveraging digital is a big part of it, but leveraging digital is actually affecting our pedagogical practices because this amazing tool that is out there now, right? We'll talk about learning partnerships and also our learning environments. But today, we're going to see basically those pedagogical practices that are proven that we always use in the classroom are huge. But you're going to notice that we're going to be moving a little bit this way to emerging innovative practices, right? Computational thinking in here, right? And so some other ones that are in here too. So we're going to do that. And when we do that, I think Araceli brought in some good points about how does this affect our students, right? We want our students to be able to reach the 6 global competencies, right? Character, right? But how does this affect character, right? We talked about plagiarizing something, right? Citizenship, right? Collaboration, right? How are they collaborating with this tool? Communication, creativity, and critical thinking. So think about that as we move through this presentation today.
All right, so you might be sitting there thinking, so some of you are like, you haven't even told us what it is. What's happening? So let's start the conversation of what is artificial intelligence. We're just going to show you a few seconds of this
before we go into
here.
ChatGPT. This is artificial intelligence.
What is artificial intelligence? Before we answer that, let's look at these terms individually. What do you understand by the term artificial? Well, it can be anything that is made by humans, things that are non-natural. And what do you understand by intelligence? It is the ability to understand, think, and learn. So what do we get when we combine these two together? Artificial intelligence is a broad area of computer science that makes machines seem like they have human intelligence.
And I think that gives us a good idea, right? Basically, a computer simulating a human intelligence, right? And how does it do that? Basically, it's programmed to think and do things that are typically require a human intelligence, right? Such as visual perception, speech recognition, language translation, and decision making. So a machine acting like a human, okay?
So why is this important to us? Why are we even having this conversation? Why are we taking time in a training for teachers to talk about this? So let's go ahead and go to the next slide.
So back on December 15, a new version, because ChatGPT has been here for a while, but ChatGPT 3 is based on ChatGPT 3 technology, came out on December 15. And what made it different was that interface. It felt like you were talking to a human. It felt like you were talking to someone else, okay? And this created this huge concern for teachers. As a matter of fact, I think 15% of Stanford students have actually admitted that they used ChatGPT for their final exams as they were going into winter break. So this gives you an idea how educators felt, right, Teresa?
Oh yes, that's definitely how I felt in the beginning when I didn't know all the things it could do. So, but while educators might have reacted that way, how did our students react? They're like,
yeah, these are our kids right here, so, right? Yeah, I'm gonna move on.
And we hope by the end of today's PD, you partially at least feel a little bit excited about what it can do for you as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So before we go into a demo so you can see what it can do. So basically ChatGPT is an AI chatbot. Basically, it's using tons of data that was put into this computer or this servers, right? And it's been fed all of this with a lot of processing power. That's why it's so fast, right? And it allows it to talk to you just like a human being, basically. It uses, again, what is called GP3 technology to use artificial intelligence. The interesting thing, we'll touch on ChatGPT 4, which just came out last week, okay? So we'll talk about a little bit on that, okay? But what is GPT-3, which is what the technology that it's based on, is basically a state-of-the-art language processing AI model, okay? Developed by OpenAI. It's capable of generating human-like text, and it can basically be used, like I mentioned, in language modeling, language translation, generating text, and so on and so on. So before we kind of go into details, let me see if I can find it. So ChatGPT is being used by millions and millions of people. It reached 1 million users so fast that sometimes it tends to be down and it tends to slow down a little bit, but we're gonna actually see it, okay? So when Araceli and I were talking about this back in November, I called one of my friends who teaches AP US history at Wilson, and we started talking about how our students could use this, okay? And he teaches US history, and we talked about DVQs, which is what our students have to do in the AP exam. And we said, well, let's see if it actually can answer a question for a DVQ. So we looked at it, a document-based question, and then we have a question right here. Teresa, can you read it for us?
Sure, go ahead and click it and then I'll read it. Write a DBQ answer to the following prompt. Evaluate the extent to which economic growth led to changes.
Yeah, that's fine. Let me refresh it. It's been down. It's also not remembering conversation. So let's try it again. I'm going to put it in here again. And let's see what it does. So here is the
as
question.
He's doing that, just know, everyone, sometimes it's down, but for some reason on my mobile, it's always working. It always works. I don't know. What's the difference? But I can't see the top. There you go. It said, evaluate to the extent to which economic growth led to change in the United States society in the period from 1940 to 1970. And you can see in a matter of seconds.
So in a matter of seconds, this ChatGPT came up with an answer that is a very, very good answer. Talking to my friend Robbie, he said, yeah, it's a good answer, he said. But honestly, I will be able to tell that this was not written by my student. He said, this was not written by my student. So as we were talking about this, we had a student that was sitting right there and he says, oh, no, but wait, Mr. Rogan, it gets better, okay? So the student said, what if you take that answer and you actually add now and you tell ChatGPT, because ChatGPT remembers your conversation, and you say, remove complex language from that answer. And I can actually do that. And notice that ChatGPT is going to look at that answer that it created and it's going to remove all the complex language, okay? So this makes that answer a little bit more believable, like it was written by a student, right? But you know your students, you know that, how they write and so on and so on, right? So our student goes, wait, I'm not done yet, okay? And hopefully it's not freezing on me. And the student went and said, make it sound like it was written by a junior in high school. And they actually put that in there, and ChatGPT went ahead and read that and was able to actually give you a whole different answer where it removed the complex language. It also made it sound like it was written by a junior in high school. And it looks like it's a little slow today, but it was able to give him that answer basically, okay? Hopefully it'll come back to us. There it goes.
And just know every time we've demonstrated this, the answer has been different. So you might think, oh, I can tell if 30 of my kids use this. It's done differently every single time.
So Araceli touched on this, right? This is actually authentic language, okay? So if I had 40 students come in here and put the same question, as Teresa said, it will give a different response every time, okay? So that's something to keep in mind, okay? Let me go ahead and go back to the presentation really quick.
So we'll show you more things they can do, but that was just a quick demo. Okay, so here we are. So Araceli kind of started this conversation already for us. And so, it is time to rethink what plagiarism and cheating mean, right? So you could be anywhere on this spectrum. Down at the bottom, you can say students wrote all assignment content without consulting AI or the internet. So pretty much pencil paper. They got no help from the internet or AI whatsoever. Maybe that's where you are. Maybe you think that's the only way they're not plagiarizing or not cheating. You might be all the way to the top. Hopefully not all the way to the top, but the top says student plugged prompt into AI, copied response, and submitted it to a teacher. I don't know if there's, they put enough thought into that type of assignment. So hopefully you're somewhere in between here, but at least keep an open mind today to kind of see where can this work for me, and that's all we ask you to do. Just keep an open mind.
Yeah, and as we look at ChatGPT, think about which of these would you consider cheating? As Teresa mentioned, which of these is relevant to our students' future, and which of this would you use in your work as an adult? So let's think about that as we continue, okay? And Araceli did a great job presenting this. Okay, so this is a paper that a typical paper that a student would have turned in one of my classes if I was requesting this. Okay, but how do we take this paper and amplify the voice that our students have, right? So now I look at this paper and I don't know if it was written by ChatGPT or not. I really don't, right? So how do I take this, right? And how do I enhance my lesson, right? So maybe in the first paragraph, now I'm asking my kids, what images might explain this? Or what's the elevator pitch for this idea? Or how would a graphic or infographic help me? So now I'm basically taking this writing, this traditional writing, and basically amplifying it with more, okay? Just to make sure that my students are demonstrating that they actually understand what we're trying to accomplish. So just pretty nice.
So, when in last December, the world reacted to ChatGPT, and we know Araceli shared some awesome ones earlier. So we're not going to go through this whole thing, but I think, some of the things that really came to our mind, really like the center one, the one in the middle, said students cheated, but I have no proof. So that was one of them, right, Ricardo?
Yeah, that's how a teacher felt, right? Like, I know my student, I know what his writing looks like, but all of a sudden we, went on break and they turned in this paper that was actually a very good paper, but I have no proof to say that they cheated. Okay. And
we might show you some resources later to show you how to possibly catch. Yeah. See if they used a tool like this. The one on the bottom right always makes me laugh. My face when my boss is asking me to rewrite that article real quick, but ChatGPT is down.
Yeah, and I'll be the first one to admit it that I find myself using ChatGPT more and more. And I always say this to teachers is I always, when I was in the classroom, I was always unwilling to take on something else on my plate. And the only reason I would do it is if it took other things off the plate. And this has been able to do that for me. And we'll talk about some uses for you as a teacher. Definitely. And we're also going to, okay, it's all right. Let's continue. It's all right. So let's go ahead and go into the history of, this is not the first time something new has come along for us. And Araceli did even show us some examples of things that were familiar and how we were able to use them. But let's continue, Ricardo. Go ahead. Yeah, as our math teachers have been dealing with this for a long time, right? Yeah. Where scientific calculators came out in the 1970s, right? A lot of them were like thinking that our kids were not going to be able to develop their mathematical skills, right? Or they were going to forget how to do math, right? Some of them were thinking this is going to create an equity issue, right? People that can afford calculators are going to have an easier way of doing math, the ones that can afford one, right? But it's always been that their technology is embedded in everything we do and is embedded in education. It's always going to be there. I know Araceli had the great image about spell checker. There was a whole study that I was just reading that actually proved how, at the beginning, we were scared that our kids were not going to be able to spell because they were going to rely on spell checker, right? But seeing that word spelled correctly over and over and over as spell checker was telling them actually made them understand how to spell it after a long, long time. So technology ended up helping them. Spell checker, which was like seen as cheating, now it's a great tool that we all use, right? And others, right? We all use Alexa, we all use Siri, right? There's a great tool on OneNote to actually solve math problems. So technology has always been embedded in everything we do. And just to give you an idea of where we're going with technology, okay? So here we are with favorite AI tools from 2022. ChatGPT was the one that answered everything, but there were so many other AI tools in here, whether it be to generate images, which by the way, ChatGPT 4 does now. DALL-E is included in there. Automated social, rephrase captions, translate audio. So these were the favorite AI tools from 2022. And just to give you an idea, okay, this is what the landscape looks like for AI in the future as we're moving to 2023 for text, not just ChatGPT. For video, there's so many of them. For images, I mean, there's everything for coding, for speech, for 3D, and for others. So I just wanted to give you an example that, this is not going anywhere. I'm gonna actually bring a video. So this is a video. I use ChatGPT and I use something called Pictory, and I'll show you what Pictory looks like in a second. I asked ChatGPT to create a 30-second commercial for this PD that Araceli is hosting today, okay? And ChatGPT wrote the text. I took the text, put it on Pictory, and I'll show you what that looks like. And this is what I came up with in a matter of seconds.
Artificial intelligence is revolutionizing the way we learn, work, and live. It's here to stay and will only continue to grow. Are HLPUSD teachers ready to adapt to this new world? Join us for our upcoming professional development program on ChatGPT.
So I know if I would have taken time to create this, it would have taken me hours. I'm not as fast as Teresa is with this kind of technology, but I'm going to show you. I basically opened my browser. I went to something called Pictory AI. Okay. I logged in and I basically opened another window. I told ChatGPT, please write this commercial for me. I took what ChatGPT wrote, I threw it in here, and I pressed proceed, and artificial intelligence with Pictory created the script in the right order. It looked at videos from the internet. It brought the videos that you guys got to see there. It added a voice and it added music. So think about that powerful tool, right? Video is such a powerful tool that now in a matter of minutes, I had a video on a commercial. You could use this as a lesson plan. Araceli was going to mention something about that. Go ahead,
Yes.
Araceli.
So because I see her in the room, so I had written, so I write these little newsletters, little articles. And so Laura, who's in the room, hi Laura, I had written a little article about her students using Flipgrid. And so I'm like, I'm going to take this article and see if I can make it into a little video. And I'll be sending it to you, Laura, so you can see all of a sudden you are now on this commercial. And again, this is the world, right, that we live in. Our students live in constant interaction with technology, fast-paced images and so forth. So this is a great opportunity for them to turn their story, their article into a little short video. Rather than spending hours looking for just the right picture, take all of that away and have them evaluate it. Is it a good one? What do I need to exchange? Right. So a different, more critical thinking skills rather than just searching for that image or that right song. So good. I love this.
Yeah. So, as we've been talking about ChatGPT, we talked about GPT-3, which is what it was based on back in December. And if I must give you an idea, ChatGPT, the original one, someone asked her to write an IEP for a student. Yes, it can write an IEP, and it did a really, really good job at it, okay? But ChatGPT 4 came out March 15 last week, and here is the same prompt to create that individual, the IEP, and notice how much more in-depth and how much better this IEP was created. So just in a matter of December to March, we went from ChatGPT 3 over here through GPT 4, and it's just more advanced and it's not going anywhere. It's going to be here. Someone took it yesterday and basically had ChatGPT 4 take all of these different exams, every AP exam, and he passed them all with a 5 or a 4. They actually had to do the bar exam. It got a 90%. The LSAT, it got an 88%. And we had the GRE, 80% quantitative, 99% verbal. And every AP and SAT test, it actually passed it. So think about it. This is a technology that our students are, this is the world our students live in right now, right? So how do we take this technology and use it to make sure that our students are actually, learning and growing as students? This was amazing to me to see this ChatGPT 4.
Yes, and that was just a matter of months from ChatGPT 3. So who knows when the next one's going to be? We have to be ready, right? So we're soon going to come to the part where we're all going to get into ChatGPT and participate and try it out. But we want to continue the conversation. Totally banning ChatGPT and other text writing AI isn't practical. It would be like playing a game of whack-a-mole. I know my daughter, she loves to go to Chuck E. Cheese, or she used to when she was little, and play that whack-a-mole. And it's nearly impossible to catch them all, right? On the right here, it says, trying to fight ChatGPT is like trying to fight a polar bear. You can do it, but you'll lose. So the world is going to continue on with or without us. So we need to continue. Go ahead, Ricardo. At the bottom.
Yeah, and I know I skipped a tweet that Teresa wanted me to read for you, but in New York, their school district actually banned ChatGPT, and what we noticed again, it was that particular district creating a bigger issue now, right? Access, right? Equity, right? Because now people that had phones at home, people that had internet at home could use it, but the other kids couldn't use it. So let's think about that, okay? And I love this one. AI will not replace you, but a person using AI will. I thought that was kind of interesting. And as I mentioned before, right, it's not going to go anywhere. Microsoft just invested billions and billions of dollars on OpenAI. And I'm going to give you a little taste right now. And Teresa, you wanted to talk about this particular one before I move on?
Oh, no, it's kind of just reiterating the same thing. Artificial intelligence is making a paradigm shift in education. How do we adapt? Other than hiding under a rock, which is probably what I did in the very beginning. But now it's time. It's time to learn more about it. And
so we are going to go into ChatGPT in a second, but I wanted to show you. So I'm in the ELA Times right here, okay? This is Microsoft version of ChatGPT, which is actually called Prometheus, and it's actually Bing is actually using it, their search engine. So if you don't use Edge browser, this might be a reason to use it. So here's an article that I have on the LA Times, right? And here is ChatGPT. I can just click on it and it automatically opens for me, and it says, how do you want me to be more creative, more balanced, or more precise? And it says, ask me anything. So I can actually come in here and I can say summarize article. It's going to look. Oh, I have to sign in. Sorry, it signed me out. So I actually can come in here. I know, right? I signed out.
So Ricardo, what's the big difference between the ChatGPT that's here rather than the one we're using? So
the big difference is that ChatGPT only has information fed until 2021. This one, Prometheus, which is by, again, Microsoft, it actually is connected to the internet right now. So it actually knows everything that is out there, okay? So let's try it again. Summarize article. Hopefully I'm connected now. So it's going to look at it and it's going to read this article because I'm too lazy to read it. Just give you an idea.
Lazy, not lazy.
Oh yeah, it didn't do it because it probably doesn't know that I'm in the page. Let me refresh it again. Let me do it again. Try one last time. Technology, right? I just tried this and it worked.
It has like 20 windows.
I know,
right
things open. So it should have been able to actually look at it, and it's not doing it right now. I'm going to try it again. It's probably because I'm not logged in correctly, but it would have been able to summarize. I could have gone to Hacienda La Puente website and I could say, which is the most watched YouTube video in this channel? It would have been able to do it for me. I can actually just have it open right here. I can have it write emails for me. As I'm answering a parent, I can actually write student feedback. So many things that you can do with the new version too. So just wanted to show it. I'll come back and fix it right now. Let me reload it right now. But you can actually see what it can do with the new version. But you wanted to talk about the limitations, Teresa?
Sure. Mm-hmm. So just so before we let you go into ChatGPT and play with it a bit, we just need to understand what can it do and what can it not do? What are its limitations? So some examples, we've shown you some. Explain quantum computing in simple terms. Got any creative ideas for a 10-year-old's birthday party? Like we said, not just education related. I got it to help me with some recipes, so how do I make an HTTP request in JavaScript? So it does coding for us too. It even does some debugging for us. It's pretty amazing. It can remember what user said, like what Ricardo showed us earlier. You could do follow-up corrections. It's trained to decline inappropriate requests. But here are some of the limitations. It doesn't do everything. Okay. It may occasionally generate incorrect information. We had a teacher doing a character study between two different books, and it got the characters wrong, so some of the things in there. So just know it gets what it gets from the internet, but the internet is not always correct, right? So may occasionally produce harmful instruction or biased content in whatever was on the internet. So if it was biased, it might be biased as well. So limited knowledge of world and events after 2020, like what Ricardo said. So that's the limitation of ChatGPT, but the Bing version may not have that one.
Yeah, I'll try it again in a second. So we wanted to show it to you now from the teacher point of view, and how some teachers out there are actually utilizing ChatGPT to be more efficient and to actually be able to use it to support them, in their everyday work. So Teresa, you want to start with the first one?
Yeah. So, the first time I thought, okay, how can I actually use this as a teacher? And the first thing I thought of was, can this write some lesson plans for me? Because writing lesson plans is not my favorite thing to do. And we all still get observed here, and we have to write those lesson plans for our administrators. So I asked it to write a lesson. Like, go ahead, Ricardo, paste in what I said. So I said, write a 1-hour lesson on Common Core Standard Literacy RL 4.1. I didn't want to give it what the standard was. I was like, let's see what you can do. Yeah, right. And so so he's going to go ahead and put this down, and let's see what okay, so first of all, ChatGPT knows what the standard is. It's a 4th grade standard. And it's giving me a 60-minute lesson plan with materials, introduction, direct instruction. It's telling me the timing, 15 minutes. And you know what? It's a different one every time I try it. And each time it's been a pretty good lesson. Guided practice right here. Divide them to small groups, etc. Independent practice. It's pretty amazing. It's almost done. And also closure. And then some of the versions also had extensions and assessments and things like that. This was done in not even a minute. Not even a minute. And not saying that I'm not going to think, but it's just a great place to start so that I can look at it and say, you know what, I would use that, or I wouldn't use that. I would adapt it that way. So I can free my brain space to do this great lesson rather than trying to come up with, all these things. So this is a great thing that would come off of my plate, if I were to use it for this reason.
And again, as Teresa mentioned, if I was to ask the same question again, the lesson will be completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now we have our lesson plan, right? So that's saving time, right? I've always used PowerPoint, right? My slide deck is like a key for me to present for my 5 minutes that I get in front of the class before the kids get in work on their own. So the next thing that I will ask is you know what? I need my slide deck, right? So create slides on present progressive and Spanish. So now I'm asking it to create my PowerPoint. Okay. So let's see what it does. So notice what it's going to do. So it's explaining what present progressive is to our students. It's actually telling you how to form present progressive, a compound verb in Spanish, use of estar and use of ando and yendo, right? It's giving examples. It's talking about the irregular forms for it. This is a PowerPoint that is almost as good as the one that I use, right, Teresa?
I think it might be better than the one that you use. I'm sorry, Ricardo.
So here it is. So it actually gave me my whole slide presentation, right? So that's automatically how to write my lesson plan, right? How to do my slide deck, right? But now I thought, okay, so now that I have those two things, right? What about an assessment? Maybe I want to create an assessment for my students, right? So as I was thinking, again, Spanish teacher, right? Set and start and how to use it. I can come in here and I can ask it, you know what? Create 5 question, multiple choice quiz on uses of set and start. Can you do that? And here it goes.
Wow, not even a second.
Not even a second,
fast.
Okay? And if I wanted to save some time, just to give you an idea, I would actually just take these 5 questions, and this could be about anything, okay? I could take, and he's giving me the answer key too, but I could just basically copy these 5 questions just to give you an idea, okay?
Showing off at this point.
No, because it's just such a great tool, okay? I could go to Word, just to give you an idea, okay? I could go to Word and just throw those questions that I created, right? This was a simple assessment that I created, but I could just come in here and just to give you an idea how simple this is or how easy it is to do. Let me do a blank document. I could have taken, and my computer is just being very slow today, those 5 questions. I could have pasted them here. Okay. I could have, if you don't know how to use this is Microsoft Word, right? You would have saved Microsoft Word and you would have basically just open a new window and you all have free access to this. And I would have gone to Microsoft Forms. Okay. And I would have been able to take that particular Word document and automatically turn it into a quiz. Okay. And it would have been very, very easy to do that. So let me show you forms.office.com. I would have been able to just take that particular document and I would have said quick import, pick my Word document. I would have taken that Word document with the questions, and it would have automatically created the whole form, the whole quiz for me in a matter of seconds, just from ChatGPT to that. Okay, so very, very simple to do. Okay, so we have an assessment now, right? We have our lesson plan, we have our slide deck, right? So we wanted to find out if we knew how to grade essays. Okay, so we said, why don't we try grading essays? Okay, and I should have had an essay open already, Teresa. Give me a second, okay? I'm gonna find it right now.
So, you know, one of our favorite things to do is grade papers. Just kidding. That's probably not one of our favorite things to do. And especially for those of you who are in middle school and high school, you're not just grading a set of 20 or 30, you're grading periods, like 100 of them, right? So this is another way to save you on time. And maybe you're not going to use the grade it comes up with, but it's been pretty good every time I've seen it. So, and he's going to show you more options too on what you could do in grading as well.
So here we go. So I have, and hopefully it works for us. So I have an essay that I want to grade. It's a personal statement, I think, that I have. So I'm going to ask her to grade an essay. So I'm just going to say, without any rubrics right now, okay, just grade essay. And let's see what it does for us. So here it is. And I have an essay right here that I took from the internet. It's a very good essay. And I'm just going to say grade it. And notice what it's going to do. In a matter of what? Not even 1 second, right? It's telling me that this essay demonstrates clear passion for education and strong desire to become an effective teacher. And it goes into talking about a B+. Every time I put it in, it has given it a B+. It's pretty amazing. Consistent. But I wouldn't use this, honestly, as a way of grading. But think about, how about student feedback? Right? I could probably use this for student feedback, even though I was talking to Araceli about this, right? But my student could have taken their essay and ask for feedback too, right? So think about a way of our students to come in here, put in the essay and there, ask for feedback and maybe improve their essay based on what the feedback they get from ChatGPT, right? I would have used it as that. So someone said, okay, so it's pretty cool that he grades that, but can he grade with rubrics, okay? And I said, well, before we find out if we can create with rubrics, why don't we ask it if it actually can create a rubric for us? Okay, so we're gonna do it 2 ways, okay? Let's ask it to create a rubric for a personal statement essay. So I'm just going to ask it, create a rubric to grade a personal statement essay. And here it goes. And here is your rubric
content,
that is creating.
Organization, yeah.
I could have said use a 5-point rubric, right? I just did it like that, but it's doing it.
So if you ask ChatGPT something and it's not exactly what you wanted, just kind of, you need to reword it or be more specific. And I'm getting some reactions here. Good.
So now that we have that, right, I can actually say, okay, now we have a rubric, right? And I can say, okay, now I want you to use the rubric you just created to grade that original essay, right? So let me bring that essay again. Let me find it really quick. Here we go. So let me go ahead and throw it in here. And here it goes. So it's going to use the rubric that it created itself, okay? So, and it's actually grading that essay right now. And notice that it's giving you 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5, 3 out of 5, language. So using that rubric that I created to grade that essay for us. And I know you have something to say about this, Teresa, right?
Oh my gosh, this is so crazy. But, you know, for me, you know, I was telling Ricardo, I have my own rubrics or I have district rubrics. I don't want it to use the rubric that it made. Can it actually use rubrics that we already have easily?
Right. So why don't we go ahead and try that right now? So here, I'm going to bring a rubric. Hopefully it loads for us. So here is a rubric right here. And let's see if we can load it. It's taking a while to load. Oh, no. Oh, here it goes. Okay, so here's the rubric, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and grab it. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab this rubric. Teresa
By grabbing, he means he's just copying.
Yeah, I'm just going to basically take this rubric. Just going to go ahead and I'm going to say,
and paste.
Use rubric to below to grade essay. Okay, so I'm going to throw the rubric in there. When I bring a rubric like that and I just copy and paste, it looks kind of weird, okay? Now let's go ahead and give it the essay again. Okay, so just to make sure that it actually knows which essay it's grading, okay? So let me get that essay again. Here we go.
Sometimes you don't have to do that, but sometimes it doesn't work. So
now I gave it a rubric that Teresa wanted to use, and now it's going to use that particular rubric that we gave it to grade that essay. So not only did it do it when it created its own rubric, now it did it using a rubric that we had at our district. Okay, pretty incredible, right?
Yeah, that blew my mind for sure.
Yeah. So it's using that rubric we just gave it to do that essay right now. And here it is. Let's see what grade it gives it at the end using that particular rubric. So as we wait, you saw how we did a lesson plan in a matter of seconds. We saw a slide deck. We saw assessment, how to grade, right? And how to grade with rubrics right now, right? I didn't show you when we did the student version. It does math too. If I asked her to do a math problem, it will know how to do it. So it can actually do that for you too. And I'll just give you a quick example of that. Here we go. So just put it in there really quick. So use the method of substitution to find a solution for this problem. So now talking from the student point of view, here it goes. And it's going to give you the answer for that particular problem. Right. Do you want me to go back to the PowerPoint, Teresa?
Also, Ricardo, I don't know if you want to demonstrate. There's something new that you learned about. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think we're going to get to that part. Yeah, we'll get to that part. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get to it right now. Okay.
Just kidding. Got excited. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's go ahead and continue. Right. So we showed you a few samples. And I think Araceli also talked about a few samples from earlier about what this tool can do for you. And so we're going to set you free soon to give it a try and use it in whichever way you find useful. And we'll share out using a Padlet. So here are some more ideas, some UBDs, different types of unit building, right? Lesson planner. You can actually make lessons like what we said. You can even do multiple day. Just be specific. Like I want a 5-day, 1 hour lesson per day. Just be specific when you ask. You can do homework, writing assignments, reading passages, comprehension, definitions, tutoring, translations, letters of rec. Like I write those all the time, and it's great now to have a different one and not just copy paste my old ones and tweak them a little bit. So word search, grammar check, rubrics, so many things. And since this, so many more has come about. And I saw a comment just earlier. Every day I'm learning new things, and so Ricardo's going to show you an even new thing that we just learned recently. So
what a great point about the letters of recommendation, right? I always ask my students to provide me that template, right? And it will always be the same letter though. And I would just kind of plug in the letter, different club, different this or whatever, right? But now you can literally write 25, 35, 45 different recommendation letters with its own language, right? Completely different. Let's see. So we do have a Padlet that we're going to be using, and I'm going to put that on the link right now in our chat. Let me see. And you want to explain it, Teresa?
Sure. So as Ricardo had put that on, we're going to give you a little bit of time right now to just play around and also share what we found. Here are different categories: lesson planning, differentiation, instruction, assessment, and there's a miscellaneous one all the way to the right as well. So what we're going to ask you to do, we're going to ask you to actually go into ChatGPT and try it out. So whatever you tried out, go ahead and put it in any of these categories here. You just simply click on the plus button and it will allow you to add whatever you've asked ChatGPT. And if you have time, when you're done, whatever ChatGPT produces, comment with that. So you can see there's the one right here that says write 1 hour lesson on Common Core Standard. That's mine. So that was my prompt. And then after ChatGPT produced it, I copied what it said and I put it in the comments so that people can see. So you can come up with your own, or you can simply try something someone has already tried and then just add your comment of what different response ChatGPT came up with. So it's entirely up to you. We're just going to give you a few minutes to just play and share these resources. These are some from our last trainings, and you can add to this as well. Araceli, are we good to give them a few minutes and come back to it?
Yeah, I definitely want to be able to have time to talk, to let people share what they're thinking. I'm hearing, I'm seeing here just some people are like, wow, this is incredible. So, again, you decide if you want to take some time to play with this, or if you just kind of have questions or want to, add to the chat there on the chat box. What's your feelings? What are you all thinking?
So definitely. So that resource is there for you. And like Araceli said, if you just wanted to share out your thoughts too, maybe you don't want to get on to ChatGPT yet. Maybe you just, want to share, how your feelings about it. Please feel free into the chat. And I'm sure we'll open up this conversation to actually have. Are we jumping time, Ricardo?
Yeah. So we're going to give him time, right? We're just going to move on. You want to just finish our presentation?
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll just finish our presentation instead of giving you time and then coming back to it. We'll finish our presentation so that Araceli can control the time a little bit better when we're done and have you participate. But we're not going to take that time for you. It'll come later.
So
Okay.
usually we give people about 5 to 8 minutes to kind of do the Padlet, and we come back, and I wanted to show you again. We're talking about artificial intelligence. We're talking about ChatGPT, Pictory. So this particular video right here, we use ChatGPT to ask her to write a song about cats. But we wanted him to make it sound like it was being sung by Eminem. Not only do we have the lyrics created by ChatGPT, but we also have artificial intelligence, and I'll show you what that is really quick if I can find it. So this is called, here it goes, UberDoc, and I can actually ask her to do AI generated raps. So I didn't hire Eminem to do this song, but I want you to see what it came up like. Just think about artificial intelligence and what it can do. Write an Eminem rap song about cats.
Cats, always on the prowl. They're sneaky and sly with their eyes on the goal. They're the kings of the house, they rule with the perm. Eminem loves cats, can't you tell from his verse? They're independent, they do what they please, but they always come back when you have some cheese. They rub against your legs, they purr in your ear. They're the best companions, they're always near. But don't get on their bad side, they're scratching their bite. They have their own minds, they won't be denied. They're the bosses of the house. Putting the show, but we love them anyway. They're out feeling bras. They're me out for food. They're me out for play. They're me out for attention. They want it their way, but we can't stay mad. They're too cute to scold. We give in to their demands. Their charms are the bold. Meow, meow, meow. Meow, meow, meow. They're the kings of the house. Kings of the house. They're running the show. They don't need a spouse. They're the best pets in the house. Feeling free. Eminem loves cats another very day. They may drive us crazy with their constant meow, but we can't stay mad. This still love works with a single purr.
Okay, so there was Eminem did not get paid to do this. We don't have the budget for that. But think about it. We did this with AI. We did it with ChatGPT, and we did it with I just had it open. I think I closed it. I'll share the link again, and you can ask it to rap with as many rappers. There was a list of them, and that's how this was created. Just pretty incredible, right? And scary too at the same time. I hope
that it makes the wheels turn in your mind on how you can actually use this to benefit you and your students. Like, I hope your mind's just being blown by all this information, right? Amazing. Okay, so let's continue. We want to wrap up our presentations so that you can have time to play.
So we're gonna provide.
I think Araceli wanted to say something.
Go ahead, Araceli.
Ricardo.
No, I just kind of the same thing. Like, yes, you know, in the wrong hands, like anything, right? Kryptonite in the wrong hands, it can go really awry. However, if we can learn how to use ChatGPT, like the kind of the idea there. All right, kids, you want to rap? Let's have a rap battle right now against Eminem. ChatGPT is on. Can you do better? Can you take what they just did and make it better, or evaluate it, or no, right? Like, this is not working for me. Right? Or the images don't seem to go. So again, how can we use it with the program, with our students? So lots of different ideas. Teachers have been just going crazy with different ideas of how to use ChatGPT within our classes.
Yeah, and Araceli is going to, I know she shares some ways of using it. Araceli is going to share this presentation with you guys. We'll get you the link, but just some ideas, right? We saw the IEP before, right? Generating lesson plans, writing emails, right? Creating assignments, creating quizzes, differentiated content, just some ideas from some of our friends out there in the Twitter world that we work with. Other ideas right here, right? Writing emails. I can tell you, and because I see Danny's here, so I'm gonna mention, today we were in Danny's room doing a virtual reality lesson that was pretty amazing. But I was telling Danny that we just found this app where our students can actually go into virtual reality, and there is a virtual person right in front of them, basically ChatGPT 4, where we can ask the kids to debate ChatGPT. We can ask them they're interviewing for a job for customer service, and ChatGPT will ask them questions, and now they're speaking with ChatGPT back and forward. They can basically interact in this virtual world to use ChatGPT for their learning, basically. So just wanted to throw that out there, okay? But other uses, creating rubrics, right? Create deeper level questions, discuss and debate, right? Make students debate ChatGPT. I had a teacher that put the students in groups of 3. I think I told Araceli this. The kids had ChatGPT write the first act of the play. And based on the first act, the students had to come up with 3 different situations that could happen based on that first act. And now the students are being creators based on that first act that ChatGPT created. Okay? 20 ways to use ChatGPT in the classroom. Again, a lot of the same in there. Use it to summarize text. Use it as a more complex source of information on Google, right? Use it to remix student work. There's so debate a bot. That's the one I was talking about. So a lot of uses right here. And you want to finish with this one, Teresa?
Oh yeah, ChatGPT teaching time savers. This is a big one. So we demonstrated a few for you, but that was just a few out of so many things it can do. You know, even IEP goals. If you didn't know, it could even do that. And you saw Ricardo show you ChatGPT 3 versus the 4, and how that has already changed and improved. Quizzes, templates, essay analyzer, pre-reading differentiation, slideshows. We already showed that to you. Rubrics. So many things that it can do. And there's even more now today after we found this like a month or two ago. So let's go to the next one.
You might.
So this one was
Go ahead.
It's okay. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You do it. That's yours.
We're gonna spend this whole time arguing. Okay. So sometimes ChatGPT doesn't exactly do what you want it to do. You want it to do something, but you can't seem to find the right words to prompt it. So this is just a great guide on how you could prompt it to do what you want. So act as though, or simulate this scenario, summarize blank for blank. There's just different ways you can also ask ChatGPT to do things for you.
Yep. And, so we've had questions, right? Because if you try to use something like turnitin.com is not going to know that this was taken from somewhere, because, again, it's authentic language, right? Google Classroom and Google Documents has originality reports. It doesn't do it. We have the other one on Word, also originality reports. So there's something called GPT-0. I'm just going to go to the link because it's not loading. That it's loading right now. That is supposed to. The people say that if you use it, it was developed by a student. That if you actually took a work that someone turns in, a student write the PDF or the Word document, and it might be down right now. Interesting. And you take that work and you put it in here, it will tell you how much of it was written by an AI, how much was written by a human person, or if it's a mixture of both. Okay, so it seems to be down. The people might be using it right now, but it's called GPT-0me, and I'm gonna put it on the chat right now. You might have better luck, but we're always trying to learn. We're always trying to figure out ways of using it. The easiest way to do it, and I'll show you right now. I'm just going to take something that I wrote before. Okay. So let's take, I think we had an answer about something before, right? On maybe the one about our DBQ in here. Okay. Oh, it's gone. So I can actually take something here. This blew my mind. Okay. This is a response that ChatGPT gave us. Okay. I can copy it and I can say to ChatGPT itself, did you generate this?
So you can take some work that you found and you can ask ChatGPT, did you generate this?
And it will tell you, and obviously we're having an error. Let me refresh it. It always does that when I leave it alone for a while. Let's try it again. Did you generate
So those other tools that Ricardo shared, the other tools to figure out how much of it used ChatGPT and artificial intelligence, they're not always accurate. Sometimes it'll find it, sometimes it won't.
Yeah,
so
and it's gonna. I don't know if you guys noticed, there's an error right now. They're having an error, so it says I didn't generate this, and this because it's saying that because I don't know if you saw the error on top. They're having a problem with going back to what was written before right now as they move to ChatGPT 4. But this should have told you, yeah, this was written by me. Over here, you should have your history, and it actually remembers, but they're having an issue. So it should have said yes, this was written by me, and obviously it's not working. And I'll show it to you again. Actually, it said it right now when I did it. See that right here? Users are not able to retrieve conversation history because the history is not working. It doesn't know if it was written by it or not. So just so you know, okay? But just
so you know, before this used to tell you who generated it as well. It doesn't anymore. It used to say, yes, this was generated by me, asked by, and then the person who actually asked for it. But it doesn't do that anymore. It just tells you whether it did it or not. It doesn't say who did it.
And before before we leave though, I just wanted to mention, so technology is always evolving, it's always moving. So just to give you an idea, this is coming, and I want you to make sure that you guys know this. So this is called Copilot by Microsoft, and I want you to see what it does. Okay, this is coming soon. So now this is gonna be on your computer. So ChatGPT is great, right? But remember, Microsoft has invested billions of dollars. So right now, I can be able to go into Microsoft, any of the tools, and notice what I can do. Copilot is going to be there for you every single time, and it's going to draft a product, something. I can ask her to create a PowerPoint. Let me go forward a little bit here. So I can be in PowerPoint, create a 10-slide presentation, not only the text of the presentation, but now it's going to create the slides with the pictures. Excel. So this is what Microsoft is doing with basically ChatGPT and their version of it. Emails. So that's what's coming. I just want to make sure you guys kind of saw that. It's incredible, right?
Yes. All right. So after all of that information, Eric, I feel the same. After all that information, we're nearly done. Okay. What word describes how you are feeling now about AI, including ChatGPT in education? And if you have the same word, that's totally fine. But hopefully, you know, we've opened your minds just a little bit onto the possibilities of AI because it's here to stay. So what are we going to do about it? Right.
There's
so
a link
we
right
can
there,
go ahead
right?
and say those words in the chat. Or we can add it to our Mentimeter, which Ricardo is going to put in the chat. So it's
I
up to you
did. I think I
where
did.
you want it to
Let me put
go.
it
But
again.
but again, we
I put
love
it
to
there.
demonstrate tools that you might want to use with your kids. So Mentimeter is a great one as well that does those word clouds and also changes the size depending on how many students are responding with the same words. So you can do it in there or you can do it in the chat. It's totally fine. We just wanted to demo that for you, but it's very similar to what we used earlier. But as you are doing that, I'll go ahead and read some of them from our chat. So amazed, Ricardo, awestruck, curious. We have quite a few who said awestruck, definitely. Stuck, intrigued, amazed. And the thing I like about Mentimeter over the poll everywhere one is if you do a few words, it'll do it together. You know, it doesn't separate them. So yeah, very cool. I love it. And it's still okay to be very apprehensive about it. That's totally valid. You know, this world is changing. But you know, we do have to try our best to keep up with it because our kids are going to be using it. So we might as well guide them, right? So go ahead, Ricardo.
Yeah, and that's Teresa and I finish, and we give it back to Araceli. What I wanted to say, because someone made a comment on the chat, and yeah, I totally agree with you, okay? But the honest truth is that ChatGPT basically lacks creative expression, and it lacks human experience. It's basically spitting out information that has been uploaded, right? Everything that it knows, it has been done before by us humans. So as we think about it, right, no creative expression, no human experience, right? So in the world of AI, let's teach our students how to leverage their humanity, right? And if it is with some of these tools, that's what we have to do, right? But that's just want to make sure that we mention that. Okay.
Yes. So Araceli, thank you so much for having us. And so our Padlet is there for you if you would like to use, or if you have other activities that you would like them to do.
Thank you so much. I've been kind of hearing them, Ricardo and Teresa have taken this on the road to many different places, including some conferences. This is a talk of the town and it's not going away. So I kind of want to hear from teachers and how are you feeling? I saw your words, but let's talk about what are the concerns, right? Somebody mentioned, are we going to lose the student voice, the human voice? Right? Where do we come in especially as English teachers, as writing teachers? What's our role now? So I went ahead and sent everyone right now on chat the Google Slides that I created that have a lot of hyperlinks, including some ideas for getting authentic writing. But let me just kind of open it up to everyone here. What are your thoughts?
I know Danny asked where she can get the recording. I know you are recording, so you're going to provide that to them at probably once it processes. Yeah.
Yes, I will be sending this out. Yes.
I think one of my main concerns when I started using ChatGPT was academic honesty. I used Turnitin.com to have my students submit like Socratic seminar answers, submit essays, submit constructive writing responses. I have 130 students. I can't give every single paper all the time I want to because I wouldn't have a life. So I gotta sort of like skim through it, look for specific things and grade it as quick as I can. But I guess my concern is like now that they're catching on or learning about it, like I guess many of them might try to use it, right, to turn in things even on turnitin.com. I don't know if maybe they'll create like an integration with ChatGPT and turnitin.com, maybe. Who knows? But yeah.
Right. And yeah, I mean, it's all over TikTok. Kids probably knew about it before we did. If I'm hearing about it, my kids probably already know, right?
Yeah.
And so the question is, can we have that honest conversation? This would be a great Socratic seminar topic itself, right? Should students use it? Like how, can they use it and how can I help? Oh, hi, baby. There's a little baby in the room. But yeah, again, I think, having that honest conversation and writing it down explicitly. When can you use it? When can you not use it? Other ideas?
Well, this is the first time I hear about this, but I like the whole wrappings section of it. Like, I think it would be a good way for my students that, they learned singing, maybe having a review, like anything, like any type of review, even for science history, make it into a rap song, and hopefully that helps them learn the content.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think this is fascinating. I've been hearing about it and avoiding it. But, we hear all the time that, we're preparing our kids for jobs we don't even understand. We're sending them in a world none of us could survive. Like, I couldn't, right? I'm good at what I do the way I've done it, with all the updates and new things I've learned in my career. Teaching them, this is their world. This is how they're going to work. We could have opinions about it, and we could worry about the voice as we know it to be being lost, but it's coming from our past and what we think has value. And I don't have an answer to all this, but I think that somehow this is going to be their world, and how we can bring them into it and let them find a voice within it, not necessarily where we come from. And how do you use it, for good, not evil, which is the meeting that made me late to yours that I was in. How do you use what you know? But this is very much their world. And I know for me as an educator for over 30 years, I resist all this because I have value placed on things we've done in the past. So I'm not sure how to use it, but I think this is what there is to do. And I love what I get to do with it. Like, I already made 2 quizzes and realized I didn't teach all the right facts, apparently, because, I'm a new history teacher after 30 years. So apparently in history, I blew it on the Andrew Jackson thing. So I'll clean that up. But it will save time, or at least give me a place to start. And I'm all about stealing and modifying. So I don't have to find the person anymore in the group. I could just steal from them and modify.
Yeah.
And let it work for me. So anyway, that was a lot, but I'm not sure what to do with it, but I think it's awesome. And thank you for sharing it.
We always mention what you said, Danny, preparing our students for those jobs that don't exist, right? What about preparing our students for what writing might look like in the future, right? What does that look like, right? I remember going back as we were getting ready for this presentation, Socrates was so against writing. He was all about, to him, face-to-face communication was the only way a person could transmit knowledge, right? And we evolved with writing. It didn't destroy the ability for us to be able to communicate through face-to-face communication. So what does it look like? What does writing look like in the future?
And, ChatGPT just capitalized all the right things. And my kids still aren't doing that. So there's parts of it that, it is a tool. It could be, up to a point, it can be used instead of your brain, but it really, at the end of the day, nothing can be used instead of your brain.
Right. And, this leads to such a bigger conversation about our kids feeling disconnected from our schools, our classrooms, right? I mean, there's going to be kids who are like, yeah, I know I could cheat, but I don't even want to do that. Like, I don't even want to try, right? It's like, they're not even going to try. And so, what leverage do we have with them? What is it that makes them excited about even expressing their thoughts? And I think for us, I know for me, it was always about the process, not the product. I never wanted just the final essay. I needed to see step by step and the struggle and And so that's the beauty of getting them to value, that struggle and also meaningful work, right? That the audience should not just be the teacher, that maybe let's give them authentic audiences. Let's write to that mayor, let's write to the school board, right? And so that they can see that words carry also, certain actions. Other ideas, comments?
I was just, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Hi, my name's Monique. I'm a high school English teacher at Workman High School. And, first time kind of settling into ChatGPT and understanding the system. And I am just flagged with concern. And at the same time, I can see this as something that we can't avoid, we can't shy away from. So ChatGPT and writing needs to maybe merge into some kind of evaluative process where students are evaluating writing or revising their work. When it comes to, for example, the AP exam, they've scrapped a lot of memorization questions for, revision questions. So when you're taking a look at a student sample, what's the best way to revise the topic sentence or to include better evidence? So I understand that writing revision is an essential part to the writing process. So how do we use ChatGPT in a responsible way where we are teaching our students to look at writing as a way to improve, but not to use it as an easy go-to and now I can turn in my essay and I have a really good grade, So not that I'm on the fence, but I think I'm just kind of waiting to see what else my district TOSAs can support me with as far as what this looks like in my ELA classroom.
Yeah.
So thank you for this. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And again, even at that conference that I was at, which was the, Teachers Association, and, everyone's like, we don't want to have a knee-jerk reaction. We're kind of waiting and seeing what's out there. How are people using it? What are the benefits and not? But one of the things that was kind of cool is that students can go in and evaluate, again, we spend so much time searching. For example, a lot of students say they don't like writing because they take such a long time looking for research information for the evidence for that specific quote that they read about in that novel earlier. You can just say, hey, can find me that quote about Lenny and how he shot his friend, right? Or how George shot his friend, right? And it'll find that, but it's always been about the commentary. And you're the one teaching them how to do that commentary, right? Bringing in those class discussions. You're having that class discussion, bringing that in as valuable sources or information or things that they can critique. So there is a way, right? So that we're not, again, feeling like, oh my goodness, this is one more thing. Now I have to be a detective. Like, no, we don't want you to feel that way. And so there are ways we're gathering. Again, if you want me to, we've collected, like Ricardo has collected this Padlet of just resources. Or if you just kind of want to sit down and talk, and we could just sit down and go through, hey, this is one thing you could do with ChatGPT. So it's at your level. It's like anything, right? So you could go slow, you could do a little bit, you could do none, you could do it all. So kind of up to you. Other questions, comments? Thank you, Monique.
I'm just excited to see how I can maximize my efficiency and save time. Like, I love the create a 5-word multiple choice quiz and it boom, that was wow. And I asked it earlier to summarize chapter 1 of To Kill a Mockingbird as a poem, and it just did it instantly. I think that's a really great way to summarize text and a fun way and look at similes. And yeah, the potential is limitless, and I think it's gonna help me save a lot of time. Yeah, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah,
very excited.
Yeah. It'll even do recipes. You could tell it hey, I only have these 3 things at home.
I did that. Yeah, I told it, make me a recipe in the form of a song so I don't forget how to make a certain plate, and it did it, and I was like, wow, this thing's insane.
Yeah, think about it. Those exemplars we're always looking for. Here's the essay I want my students to write me one that would be a D. You write me one that has grammar errors, so the students can now find
those model, right? Models, different models. Yeah, I was thinking of that too. That's great. Yeah,
English learners, right? Summarize this in a way so that our students can understand it. Lots of powerful things, of course. Yes, will there be students who want to just resort to this? This is where we need to show that progress, Anyone else? Thank you. Good comments and questions. All righty. All right. We're going to go ahead and unless there's any more, I'll stick around. And if you have questions, comments, you can stick around. I will be sending you the recording, and I also will be posting it on our Canvas page for others. If there's colleagues who wanted to hear about this, please share this information with others. The more we know, more powerful we are. But again, I thank you for your time. I hope that you can play with it. It is, again, sometimes a cell phone works a little bit better than on the computers, but that's up to you. Thank you so much. We'll stick around if you have any questions, and I will be emailing you that timesheet. Thanks, everyone.